Hi, I'm Drowsy Pokemon, and today I'm going to tell you about how to play in a pre-release tournament. So pre-release tournaments happen when a new Pokemon set is coming out, and they're some of the best ones to play in if you haven't played the game before and you want to have a first time doing it. They're really cool because you don't have to build your own deck. You don't have to bring hardly anything. So when I go to a pre-release, I bring a play mat and damage counters, poison and burn markers, and a dice. So these are all just from an ETB that I opened up, an Elite Trainer box that I opened up. And I just bring them in a little tin or a little pouch, but that's pretty much all you need to bring with you. And when you get to the pre-release, everybody's gonna get a build and battle box. Okay, so everybody kind of starts on the same footing, which is why it's nice when you're just starting out. So you'll take your build and battle box after everybody gets them, then the person there will tell you that it's okay to open them up. So if you don't have fingernails, you might want to bring some kind of box opener or something like that. But we'll get our build and battle box opened up. This one's an Obsidian Flames one. And in your build and battle box, you will find a nice set list. So that's got all the cards in the Obsidian Flame set. So if you imagine a pre-release, a lot of this stuff wouldn't be known yet, which is kind of cool. And then on the back of that, you have building tips, and it'll talk about things that you might want to think about or do when you're building your deck. So the next thing that you'll find in your build and battle box is your deck. So the decks come pre-wrapped like this. This is a 40 card deck. It's basically already built for you. So the next thing is you're gonna have about 30 minutes to look at your deck, see what you got, what's in it, kind of try to learn some of the cards that you may not be familiar with. And you get 4 packs. So you can open these packs and you can switch out any cards from your deck with cards that you get in your packs if you want to customize your deck. Now, if you've never played before, you might just stick with the deck as it is. But if you want to kind of mess around and see if you want to move some of these cards into your deck, you certainly can. So you have a half an hour to do that, to open these, to look through your deck. If you brought card sleeves, which is generally a good idea, you can put your deck in card sleeves and get them all ready for play. And so next we are going to show you how to set up once you get matched with a partner. Okay, so here we have our 2 players who were matched up for the first round. Usually there's 3 or 4 rounds in a pre-release. And so these 2 players have their decks, their 40 card decks, and they've put them in sleeves. So the first thing that they're going to do is shuffle their decks, and then they're going to put them in between each other and offer for the other person to cut or tap. And so the other person can decide if they want to cut the deck or tap it. Okay, then they'll take their decks back and they will do the first part of setup by dealing themselves 7 cards each. Okay, after they have their 7 cards, they're gonna look at their cards and they're gonna make sure that they have a basic Pokemon. You have to have at least 1 basic Pokemon in order to start the round. So once they've determined if they have a basic Pokemon or not, and in this case they both do, then they're going to decide which Pokemon they're going to put in their active spot, and that's going to go in the center at the front of their playmat, and any Pokemon that are also basics that they want to put on their bench, which would be set behind that first one. So generally, if you have any basic Pokemon, it's good to have one in your active spot, and if you have any more, have them on your bench. But right now they've got them face down because we haven't started yet. Now the purpose for that is if you draw your first 7 cards and you do not have a basic Pokemon, then you need to take a mulligan. And that means you have to show those 7 cards to the other person. They verify that, yep, there isn't a basic Pokemon in there. And then you shuffle your deck again. Again, you offer tap or cut. Deal yourself another 7 and see if you have a basic Pokemon. And if you do, oh, she doesn't again. So now we do it again. That's the second mulligan. So she shows the other player, shuffles that deck again, pulls another 7. And looks for that basic Pokemon again. Okay, so if she had to take 2 mulligans, that means the other player gets 2 extra cards. Okay, so the next thing that they do after they have their active Pokemon and their benched Pokemon upside down is they set out their prize cards. When you're playing in a pre-release with a 40-card deck, you're going to put out 4 prize cards. That's different than the regular game where you would put out 6. So for pre-releases, we're only putting out 4 prize cards. So you see they've got them face down on one side of their mat. And they've also got their draw pile, which will be on the other side of the mat. And now they're ready to play. So they're going to give each other a fist bump or a good game. And then they're going to flip over their active Pokemon and then their benched Pokemon. So this is the first time you'll get to see kind of who you're going to be playing against or what kind of deck they might have. So let's take a look at one of these cards and see what kinds of things we can learn from it. So in the top left, that's where you'll see basic. In your deck, you might also have ones that are stage 1 or stage 2. You'll also see how much HP each card has. There, that one's a stage 2. So you'll see how much HP it has. You'll see what the attacks are. So that top attack means it costs 1 water energy. So you have to have 1 water energy attached to this before you can do that attack. And you'll read kind of the instructions of what it can do. So in this case, there's 2 different attacks. They each cost 1 water energy. So if this player had an energy attached, they could pick which one they wanted to do. You can't do both though, just pick one. Down at the bottom here, it shows weakness. So this card is weak to lightning type Pokemon, and it's ×2. So if a lightning type attacks this card, it's going to do twice as much damage as it usually would. They also have resistance. In this case, this card has no resistance. And then over here we see the retreat cost. So this means that it would cost 2 energies to retreat the card, which is taking it out of your active spot and putting it back on your bench. And when you use that, you have to have the 2 energies attached. And then when you retreat, you take those energies and you put them in your discard pile. But then you could pick a new Pokemon to put in your active spot. So that's kind of how the cards look and what they mean. Okay. So the next thing they're going to do is they're going to get out a coin or a dice, and they're going to determine who goes first. So we've got a coin here. She's going to ask her opponent, heads or tails?
Heads or tails?
I'll go with heads.
Flip the coin. It is heads, so this person gets to pick. Do you want to go first or second?
Second.
Wants to go second. So this person is up first. So the very first thing you do at every turn is draw a card. Okay, he's got his card, and now they get to decide if they want to play any of the cards. So in your hand, you might have a variety of cards. You can put basic Pokemon on your bench. Every turn, you can attach 1 energy to any of your Pokemon, whether it's in their active spot or the bench spot. And you can also play trainer cards. With trainer cards, you can play as many items or tools as you want. there's a supporter. So you can only play one supporter per turn, but you could play as many items or tools as you want. This one's a stadium. So stadiums, when you play them, they apply to both people and they stay in the game until either someone has a card that can remove the stadium or it's replaced with a different stadium. So there's always only one stadium in play if there are any. And so that one's an item card. So that one might be one to play. But you're just gonna read the instructions there, and that's what you'll do when you play one of those cards. So because it's first turn, this player is not allowed to play any supporter cards or to evolve any Pokemon. So they are going to decide what to do related to items or energies. They're also not allowed to attack. If they decide not to do anything because they really just don't like their hand that much, then they're just gonna say pass. And it'll go to the next person. This person is gonna start their turn by drawing a card, and then they're gonna have the same kinds of choices. However, because they're going second, they are allowed to attack. Okay, so that player attached an energy. And as we know from looking at that card, that means there are two choices for attacks. So they're going to look at those attacks and decide if they would like to do one or the other. Whenever you attack, it's the last thing you can do for your turn. So if you want to play any trainer cards or putting any other Pokemon on your bench, you need to do that before you attack.
I'm going to use Razor Fin, and yours is weak to water, therefore it does 20.
It's not weak to water, actually. My weakness is to grass type,
Oh,
if you will notice.
it looks like water from where I was.
Yes, I can see that.
Okay.
So, what is the damage?
10.
Thank you.
So just like this player did, you're gonna announce what attack you're using and how much damage it does. And then the other player is gonna use those funky little dice to put damage on their card. So that one did 10 damage, and now we have 10 damage on the card. Now this card that this player has, as you can see, has 30 HP. So with 10 damage done against it, it has 20 HP left. All right, and because that was the attack, that was the end of that player's turn, and we're back to the other player, and they're always gonna start by drawing a card. And now we're into the part of the game where they can evolve, they can use a supporter card, anything like that. They can also always choose to pass.
I have a question. What should I do when I have a question?
If you have a question, you can raise your hand, and the judge who works at the tournament will come to you and answer your question.
Yeah, so for my Pokemon, the symbol for the energy type is just a blank kind of circle. Does that mean I can put any energy, or does it have to be a special type of energy?
So that particular symbol, it does not have a star in it, and it is just kind of a blank little bubble. And what that means is that you can do that anytime with no energy at all.
Oh, thank you.
So now that this player is allowed to attack, they can do that attack even without any energies attached.
I'm going to do Blubbering, which does 10 damage, and your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused.
Ah, okay. So now this player's going to turn theirs sideways to show that it's confused, and it gets 10 damage put on it. Okay, so because this player attacked, it is now this player's turn. The very first thing you do is draw a card. Often people will say, I'm drawing for turn.
I'm going to attach my energy to that Finizen,
So he gets to attach one energy per turn. This time he did it to his bench.
and I'm going to evolve it too.
And he also evolved that Pokemon. So it went from a basic to a stage 1. So now that Pokemon is evolved. All of the energies that were on it before get to stay on it, But now you can see there are different attacks with this evolved Pokemon. You can only evolve a Pokemon after the one before it has been in play for one turn. So you can't just put one down and evolve it right away. You have to wait at least a turn. Okay, now this player has to decide if they're going to play any trainers or if they're going to try to attack even though they're confused.
I'm just gonna pass.
Okay. They're going to pass. Yes.
So, can I just do that any turn, or is it only a one-time thing?
You can do it any turn because it doesn't say that you can't do it the next time.
Okay. So if it said I could only do it once, I wouldn't be able to repeat the attack?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome.
So I'm drawing for turn, and luck is not favoring me. So I suppose I'm just going to do blubbering again, which your opponent's active Pokemon has already been confused, so that doesn't do anything, and it also does 10 damage, so now you are at 20 damage.
So this Pokemon has 50 HP, now it has 20 damage on it, and it's still confused. So let's see what this player wants to do.
Gonna attack for turn. And I'm going to just, I guess, try and Razor Fin you.
Okay, so he's going to try to Razor Fin. Now, because he's confused, what happens is he has to flip a coin, and if the coin is heads, then he'll be able to do the attack, and he'll be able to Razor Fin the opponent. If the coin is tails, though, it'll be confused and it'll backfire on him, and he'll have to take 10 damage to himself instead of it going to the opponent. Tails. So it does damage to him, but no damage to the opponent. And because that was an attack, now it's his opponent's turn.
So I'm drawing for turn. And I'm going to go straight to the attack. Blubbering. Again, the confused and 10 damage, so you're now at 40 damage.
He's now at 40 damage. He's got a 50 HP Pokemon. And we know that if his opponent does that again, or if he tries to attack and it backfires again, this Pokemon will be knocked out.
Warning, George.
Okay, so now it's this player's turn.
Alright. Draw for turn. I'm going to try to Razor Fin.
Okay, so he's gonna flip a coin again because he's confused. So we're gonna see if Razor Fin attack will work. And it is tails. So Razor Fin attack did not work, it backfired. And that does enough damage that Pokemon has been knocked out. So that Pokemon and any energies attached go in his discard pile. Usually right below your draw pile. And then he's got a choice. Because he has Pokemon on his bench, well, actually he doesn't have much choice. Because he has Pokemon on his bench, he will decide which Pokemon from the bench to put in the active spot next. He's only got one choice in this case. So now he's got a new Pokemon in the active spot. Now, because he attacked and it backfired, that means it's his opponent's turn. And so his opponent is going to draw for turn. Oh, I'm sorry. His opponent gets a prize card for knocking out his Pokemon. So if you knock out a regular Pokemon, that's one that's not a V or an EX or a V-Star or something like that, then you get one prize card. If you knock out one of those special Pokemon like an EX or a V-Star, that kind of thing, then you get 2 prize cards. So
I thought if you knocked out like a VMAX or something, you got 3 prize cards for a VMAX.
I'm not actually sure, but you won't come across those in a
Ask
pre-release
the judge.
anyway.
Ask the judge.
Okay. So this person is now going to draw for turn.
Drawing for turn. Oh, finally. I got something I can do.
Now the ways to win the game are to take all your prize cards, meaning that you would knock out like 4 regular Pokemon or any combination that lets you draw 4 of your prize cards. If you've drawn all of your prize cards, you're the winner. Another way to win is if you knock out your opponent's Pokemon and they don't have any Pokemon on their bench that can take that place. That's an automatic loss no matter how many prize cards are there. So if this player had been able to knock out that one Pokemon, because this player didn't have any on the bench, that would have been an automatic win, and that competition would be over. The final way to win is if you make the other player draw all of their draw pile cards so that there are none left and they have nothing to draw. Then that's a loss as well. So you do kind of want to watch that draw pile and make sure that it doesn't get down to nothing. Okay, so now this player can do any trainers.
I will be playing a trainer. I'm going to play Ultra Ball, which in case you don't know what Ultra Ball is, you can use this card only if you discard 2 other cards from your hand, so I will be discarding 2 of these energies because I have like 300. And then it says search your deck for a Pokemon, so reveal it, and then I'm going to put it into my hand, and I got to shuffle my deck again. So now that's going to go on my discard pile.
So now this player gets to search their deck for any Pokemon. Sometimes it'll be specific kinds of Pokemons, like only basic or only some with a certain level of HP. But in this case, an Ultra Ball lets you find any Pokemon.
So I'm going to reveal my Pokemon, everybody sort, I'm putting it in my hands, and then I'm going to shuffle my deck.
And anytime you shuffle the deck, you're always going to offer it to your opponent to tap or cut. And then it goes back. So now this player can continue because they've only played a trainer card. So they can still attach an energy for turn. They can still put any basic Pokemon on their bench. They could still evolve a Pokemon that has already been played.
So, now I'm going to take the Togepi that I just found using my Ultra Ball, and I'm going to put it on my bench.
Okay.
And now I'm going to use the Bubbering, which is your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused, and it does 10 damage.
Okay, so now this player puts 10 damage on theirs, but because this is a stage 1 Pokemon, you'll see the HP is higher, and the attacks generally do more damage than a basic Pokemon. So now this player, who has 2 energies attached to this Pokemon, will be able to do some of these more special attacks.
So I know that I'm confused, so if I backfire, I'll be down, but I'm going to try and use Justice Kick.
Can I read the attack for
Do you want to draw a card for turn first?
Oh, yes.
And put anything on your bench that you want, or play any trainers?
I'll play Youngster. Which
Okay.
is discard your hand and then draw 5 cards.
Yep, so this one, shuffle your hand into your deck. So you actually shuffle those that were in your hand into your deck. And then you get to draw 5 cards. So it's a good kind of reset card if you don't have anything good. And because it's a supporter card, this player only gets to play 1 per turn. So this player cannot play any more supporter cards this turn. And it looks like he's not super happy with what he got. All right, but he can still play any items, any tools, a stadium. He can still attach an energy for turn, put any basic Pokemon on his bench, or if none of those things are an option with his cards that he doesn't really like, he can just go straight to his attack.
Now I'm going to Jet Punch, actually.
Okay, so he's gonna Jet Punch.
What's Jet Punch say?
30 damage to a benched.
So this attack does 30 damage to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon.
And the regular 30.
And it does the regular 30. So anytime it's on that top line there, that's going to be to the active Pokemon. But this one has that nice little footnote that says it's also doing 30 damage to a benched Pokemon. So he gets to decide which benched Pokemon, if there were multiple. You can have up to 5 on your bench. Otherwise, it's just going to do 30 damage to each. But because he's confused, he's got to flip first. If it lands on the floor, it's a reflip. So he's going to flip again. Try to keep it on the table. And it is heads. So that means he's not confused anymore. So he can turn his thing back to regular. And his attack works. So he gets to do 30 damage to the active Pokemon, which knocks it out. So he's going to take a prize card. And his opponent is going to put their benched Pokemon into the active spot. And it also got 30 damage. But it has 50 HP. So still alive. All right, so that's going to be enough for this video, but you kind of get the idea of how it goes. And remember, you can always raise your hand and ask a judge for help if you need clarification on anything. The other nice thing about pre-releases is that there are almost always lots of people around who have played before and can help you with any questions that you might have. So thanks so much for watching our video. We'll see you next time.
Whoa, crazy? It was a fake mustache.
What?